Hello students and friends. Welcome to Homeopathy Medicines. Today in this homeopathic materia medica lesson, I will discuss about homeopathic medicine Magnesium muriaticum. Before starting this video, please subscribe to this channel for Learn Homeopathy Online free and Homeopathy Materia Medica. We need support from you to make this channel more beautiful and more informative. Now going to discuss about Magnesium muriaticum, its uses and symptoms. A liver remedy with pronounced characteristic constipation. Chronic liver affections with tenderness and pain, extending to spine and epigastrium, worse after food. Especially adapted to diseases of women, with a long history of indigestion and uterine disease, children who cannot digest milk. Evil effects of sea bathing. Head, sensitive to noise, bursting headache, worse, motion, open air, better, pressure, and wrapping up warmly, sill, stront. Much sweating of head, calc, sill. Facial neuralgia pains, dull, aching, worse damp weather, slightest draft, better pressure heat. Nose, nostrils ulcerated, coryza. Nose stopped and fluent. Loss of smell and taste, following catarrh. Cannot lie down. Must breathe through mouth. Mouth, blisters on lips. Gum swollen, bleed easily. Tongue feels burnt and scalded. Throat dry, with hoarseness. Stomach, appetite poor, head tasting mouth. Eructations like rotten eggs. Continued rising of wild froth into mouth, cannot digest milk. Urine can be passed only by pressing abdominal muscles. Abdomen, pressing pain in liver, worse lying on right side. Liver enlarged with bloating of abdomen, yellow tongue. Congenital scrotal hernia. Must use abdominal muscles to enable him to urinate. Urine difficult to void. Bladder can only be emptied by straining and pressure. Bowels, constipation of infants during dentition, only passing small quantity. Stools knotty, like sheep's dung, crumbling at verge of anus. Painful smarting hemorrhoids. Female, menses black, clotted. Pain in back and thighs. Metrigia, worse at night. Great excitement at every period. Leukorrhea with every stool and after exercise. Tiny ociliaries, eruptions in face and forehead worse before menses. Heart, palpitation and cardiac pain while sitting, better by moving about. Gels. Functional cardiac affections with liver enlargement. Respiration, spasmodic dry cough, worse for part of night, with burning and sore chest. Extremities, pain in back and hips, in arms and legs. Arms go to sleep when waking in morning. Sleep during day, restless at night on account of heat and shock, anxious dreams. Modalities, worse, immediately after eating, lying on right side, from sea bathing. Better, from pressure, motion, open air, except headache. It would seem rather strange that the two remedies to which Hahnemann gave such a good start by proving and use should be so neglected and forgotten as magnesia carb and magnesium have been. These two, if used, would cure many of the liver troubles that are not now cured. Magnesium could cure many conditions in nervous, excitable women that now go uncured. These remedies are neglected, while phosphorus and sulfur are prescribed for almost everything. Magnesium is a deep-acting antibiotic suited to nervous patients with stomach and liver troubles. It has enlarged glands and irritation of the nerve centers and brain. This patient is often sensitive to cold, chilly, but he desires fresh air and open air. Many of the complaints are ameliorated by the open, fresh air, but some head symptoms are an exception. The head must be covered, as it is so sensitive to the open air. He is extremely restless, only with great difficulty can he keep still, and if forced to keep still he becomes anxious. Anxiety is the marked feature. Restlessness, fidgetiness throughout the body, coupled with anxiety. This comes on at any time, but it is worse at night in bed and still worse on closing the eyes to go to sleep. When he closes the eyes he becomes so anxious, restless and fidgety that he must throw the covers off, take a long breath or do something. He is kept awake at night by the anxious feeling. It was described originally by the prover as an uneasiness, but in the guiding symptoms it is spoken of as a restlessness in bed. If you study the hysterical nature, the anxiety and restlessness, you will see it is throughout the whole economy and should be classed under mind and nerves. Some remedies have vertigo on closing the eyes, some have anxiety on closing the eyes. Conium has sweat on closing the eyes. These were the points used by keynote prescribers and sometimes good results were obtained. I remember once curing an organic stricture, which had been dilated but was no better. The patient described his symptoms and the stricture was all he could think of. I did not see his remedy and gave everything without relief. One day, however, he told me he could not close his eyes to go to sleep without having a profuse sweat. I gave him conium on that keynote alone, but it cured him of the sweat and the stricture, brought back an old gonorrheal discharge and resorption of the inflammatory material took place. A scientific prescriber would not do that, but when he heard that symptom he would not know it was in the nature of conium to have the stricture, and in another case he would see that conium did not suit, and he would know when and when not to give it. Anxious in the room, ameliorated in the open air. Anxiety at night in bed on closing the eyes. While reading she felt as if someone were reading after her and she must read faster and faster. That occurs in patients who are tired from being worked up to the highest pitch and it seems as if they would fly to pieces. Any thought that comes into the mind tends to repeat itself. Vertigo, ameliorated walking in the open air. Vertigo in the morning on rising. The head symptoms are troublesome. Silicea will be given in cases where this remedy should be given, because the silicea headache is ameliorated from wrapping up the head. This remedy has it also. Soreness of the hair follicles. Sensation as if the hair were pulled. Headache ameliorated from tying a bandage tight around the head or wrapping up the head. Yellowness all over the body. Yellow eye and jaundice and liver troubles. Eyes inflamed. Margins of lids and eyelashes crusty, fine pimples and eruptions. After leaving the head symptoms, which are relieved by warmth, we find many symptoms worse in the warm room. Pulsation in the ears. Ulceration of the edges of the nostrils. Tongue has the appearance as if it had been burned, excoriated and cracked in various directions. Fissures burn like fire. Hunger but knows not for what. Ravenous hunger followed by nausea. Aggravation from salt things, from eating salt food, from salt baths, from sea bathing, and at the seashore from inhaling sea air. Chest complaints, liver complaints and constipation at sea. Bromine has complaints of sailors when they come on shore. Magnesium has complaints from going to sea. When a patient has urticaria at the seashore, arsenic will cure in arsenic cases and will often mitigate when it is the only symptom. Foul eructations tasting like rotten eggs. Disordered stomach. Stomach easily disordered. Water brash, vomiting. Like magnesia carb, it has inability to digest milk. Milk causes pain, and it is passed undigested, lenteric stools. Fainting at the dinner table in hysterical women. It has many liver troubles. Enlargement and induration of the liver, with jaundiced skin. Right lobe of liver sore, painful while lying on it, and when he turns over to the left he is uncomfortable, as it feels as if the liver dragged over to the left. Natrum sulf often cures that symptom, until he has a somewhat similar condition. These two symptoms, aggravation from lying on the right, that is, the soreness, and aggravation from lying on the left, that is, the dragging, come separately or together. It has much liver trouble from lying on the liver. Tenderness in the region of the stomach and over the bowels. Attacks of gastralgia in the evening. A strong feature in this remedy is indigestion. The stomach becomes less and less able to digest and finally he cannot take a mouthful of food without distress. Abdominal dropsies. Colic, cramps, tearing pains. Great flatulence. With this kind of digestive disturbance we have a good home for tapeworm. It hatches out easily in this patient. The most troublesome patients I have are those who come after having had a tapeworm removed by violent drugs. It takes a long time to restore them. If a patient will come with his worm and all his symptoms, I will give him relief, and he will soon be turned into order and the tapeworm will cause no trouble. Constipation of infants. as in magnesia carb. Chalky stools like magnesia carb. When the patient is an adult and yellow with jaundice, the stools are light-colored, bilious, and there is no expulsive power. No power to expel the contents of the bladder, so he presses with the abdominal muscles on the full bladder and passes a little. Lack of sensation in the bladder, so that sometimes he cannot tell whether he has to urinate or not until the bladder is so full that it causes pressure. The inability to feel extends to the urethra, and he cannot tell in the dark whether he is passing urine or not. Metriorrhgia, with backache which is ameliorated by pressing hard back in the chair or lying on a hard pillow. Bearing down pains in the pelvis, especially in hysterical women and girls. Congestion of chest from sea bathing. Chest troubles and colds on the chest at the seashore and from salt baths. Palpitation of the heart, with anxiety and restlessness. Come on at rest, he must do something, must hurry. These symptoms are likely to come on again in the evening when he tries to go to sleep. Shocks through the body, like electric shocks, when wide awake, jerking the whole frame, twitching and jerking. Numbness in the extremities. Tearing pains in the upper limbs and marked restlessness in lower limbs. Cramps and calves at night. Paralytic drawing and tearing in all the limbs. Burning of the soles at night in bed. Foot sweat is another symptom like cilicia. Numbness of the arms in the morning on waking. Hysterical and spasmodic complaints. Weakness from sea bathing or salt baths. It is the aggravation from salt. Sleep unrefreshing, anxious dreams. Bodily state sensitive to cold, and great disposition to take cold. Some complaints are ameliorated by fresh air, if not too cold. Thanks for watching this video. If you want more videos like Magnesium muriaticum, please subscribe to this channel and press the bell icon. To learn homeopathy course online free with Homeopathy Materia Medica. Comment us your feedback and what you want in the next video. Like and share this video with your friends and family. For paid and free consultancy online, visit homeopathymedicines.com and mashclinic.com. Thank you. Have a nice day. Stay healthy, stay happy.